Welcome to the streamer fly fishing segment of our beginner tutorials. So what is streamer fly fishing? Streamer fishing is the closest thing in fly fishing to what most fishermen start out with, lure fishing. Like lures, streamers imitate smaller fish, bait fish, scallops, and other common aquatic life such as leeches or crayfish. Streamer fishing is exciting because you're constantly moving. You're retrieving your line, you're covering lots of water. It's also super exciting because when a trout hits your streamer, it feels like a bull is pulling on the other side of the line. So let's discuss the rod setup of a streamer rig. Because streamers do carry a little more weight than a nymph or a dry fly, you might want to look into a 6 or 7 weight rod. Doesn't mean you can't fish with something lighter, but those heavier rods do make it easier to whip those bad boys out, especially when it's windy outside. You might be asking yourself, what type of line do I need for streamer fishing? If your rod comes with a floating line, that'll work just fine. But if you're really getting into streamer fishing and you're trying to reach deeper depths, such as deep pools and still waters, you might want to invest into a sinking tip line. These lines are weighted on the end to bring the leader and fly down deeper, faster, so you can reach those larger trout lurking in the depths. The line setup is going to be different than our tri-fly or nymph rig setups. You're going to want a 4X or stronger leader that's only about 4 to 5 feet in length. Now, out in the marketplace, there are streamer leaders, and these come with little micro swivels on the end of them so you can attach additional heavy tippet. From there, we're going to attach our streamer to the end of the leader by using the improved clinch knot or the non-slip loop knot. I prefer the non-slip loop knot because it gives a little more action to that streamer. After you try it on your fly, give it a tug. Make sure that the knot is good so we don't break it off when you land into that monster trout. Also, please don't forget to debarb your hook. It's going to make it a lot easier when you get that fish on. Now that your rod is set up, let's discuss the best time to go streamer fishing. Streamer fishing can be good year-round, but I found it to be most successful when the watercolor is a little bit murky or off-colored, like a day after it had just rained or if you're fishing during runoff time. Streamers are also great options for fishing off a boat. They cover a lot of water. And also with that added weight, you can cast it a lot further away from the boat than you can with a dry fly or a nymph rig setup. Because streamers are fished on what we call an active retrieve, which I'm going to show you a little bit later, you don't have to worry about a dead drift presentation or perfect placement like you would a dry fly. Whereas the best location to use streamers? Pretty much everywhere, because you can cover so much water quickly, and you can use streamers in just about any area that holds trout. We will go into greater detail on stocking these trout in future lessons, but for now, just remember there's no wrong place for streamers. Now we're all set up and ready to hit the water. Let's first discuss using streamers on moving water. Unlike with dry fly fishing and nymphing, where you're casting 3/4 upstream, you're going to want to cast a streamer directly across you. The minute that streamer hits the water, we're going to start retrieving the line with our opposite hand in 6 to 8 inch intervals. This is going to represent a small bait fish that might have been spooked out of its hiding place or it's making a run for it. Because trout are very territorial, if a streamer comes into view of a hungry one, you're almost guaranteed to get a hit. The 6-inch retrieval is a great way to get started with streaming, but it's not the only way to fish streamers. Try changing up your retrieve. 2 fast retrieves with a pause, then 3 fast retrieves with a pause. Fish, like most living things, don't move in a consistent manner, so making your retrieves as realistic in movement as possible will make your streamer more appealing to that monster trout. Another approach is a dead drift with a swing. I know I said you didn't have to do a perfect dead drift, but this is a very effective approach with the streamer. Cast across stream and then hold your line tight. Bend your line slightly upstream and let the streamer swing around and rise to the surface. As soon as you get the hang of the streamer in the water and your retrieve rates, try changing up your angle in the water. Cast downstream and retrieve it back to you. Or if you're using a sculpin pattern, cast upstream and retrieve it as it deepens. Sculpin typically swim downstream when frightened. While streamer fishing, make sure you pause during the last few strips of the line before picking it up and casting again. Trout will sometimes chase your streamer across the entire river waiting for a prime opportunity to take a meal. So how do you use streamers on still water? You'll use a streamer on still water in the same way you would on moving water, except you'll want to give the streamers a little more time to sink before starting your retrieve. Look for areas where you can cast to opposite banks or to obstructions such as inlets, beaver dams, or foliage. Change up your retrieve until you find a combination that lands that monster trout.